3-week long break and other various things that we had to take care of, Roll to Heal Table Talk is back.
Woo!
Joined with Corey and
Hello,
Max.
hello.
How are you guys doing?
It's been
Great to be back.
I say it's been a minute. It's good to see everybody's faces again.
I agree. We got a interesting topic we're going to bring up tonight, and we're actually going to discuss the book Tribe by Sebastian Junger. This is a book that's a core part. Yeah, look at Corey showing it off. It's a core part of Roll to Heal, and it's something that gets mentioned a lot. It's been mentioned a lot on the podcast. So we thought it would be a great idea to go through, discuss a little about the book, give our insights, our thoughts, share maybe some personal experiences we've had. Yeah, buddy. So if you got parts you would like to share while we're discussing this, by all means, feel free to share in the chat, and we'll read your comments and go through. But before we get into that, a couple of big things have happened in the 3 weeks that we were gone, and it would be a great opportunity for us to show those things that are going on. So, a couple weeks ago, I attended a festival. It was called the Otaku Food Festival. Our partners at Nexus Gaming invited me out and said, "Hey, come sit at a table. Talk about your cause, meet some people. Just kind of get your name out there some more." So I did, and I was joined by two members of the Mesquite, Texas chapter that helped me out greatly. Meg and Christian, thank you again for joining me. Really appreciate it. They set up a little table next to mine and did like a communication, like a meet and greet, paint minis and talk thing, and it was
Nice.
That's
pretty.
awesome.
It was a pretty big success. Like they got a lot of attention, and it kind of naturally flowed them to me so that we could talk about Roll to Heal, and it was a great time. We Meg took a decent amount of pictures, but we did post one on our Facebook group, and I will go ahead and show it to you now. Boom. Ta-da! Look at that. It's me talking at the table at the Otaku Food Festival. But it was a great time. Met some very interesting people. There was some wonderful people that were in a table next to me, who I believe they know the owner of Nexus Gaming, and he invited them out as well. Thanks, Gord. Yeah. You notice the beard's a little shorter now.
I wasn't going to say nothing, but yeah, I was making comparisons already.
Yeah. No, like the braiding. My wife braided the beard, and I said, "Cool, we're done. I can finally trim it back." So I did, but yeah, the people next to us at the table, fantastic individuals. They're starting up their own like coffee brand, but it's like fantasy themed coffee, so everything's got a fantasy name. And Blaze is one of the owners, and her husband, I unfortunately can't remember his name. He was a prior Navy vet, so we got to talking, and he dealt with his own PTSD stuff. So I got to listen to her stories about what he dealt with, and the trials that they faced together and overcame, and it was great to see. And then she did an interview and posted it on TikTok, and she did tag Roll to Heal. Unfortunately, it was extremely loud in there, so you can barely hear what I'm saying, unfortunately. But I did tell her if she wants to redo it at some point, just hit me up, and I will be happy to do it somewhere that's more quiet. But again, I wanted to thank Blaze because she also gave me a point of contact for someone at ReaperCon. So we may end up going to ReaperCon. I'm waiting to hear back from the individual. We've already had a little back and forth correspondence. I'm just waiting to see if they're going to be able to fit us in there for that. So we'll see how that goes. And I learned a very interesting thing, that apparently there's a a Dallas Sumo Club, and they were there demonstrating sumo wrestling. And I was not
Like-
expecting that at all.
Uh,
Oh yeah, like
Nice.
full on
Nice.
in the
Sign-
outfit.
sign
They had
me
the
up.
mats. Yeah, they were when that was
Well, I
the
don't
other
know, Max.
thing.
I think I'm one of the closer ones we got.
I mean, like spectator.
But they were actually not even 50 feet from where we were, so we got to watch the entire thing play out. They did demonstrations and had people come up. It was kind of funny. But yeah,
Sumo's a good time.
yeah. So yeah, it was a great time all in all, and I can't thank Nexus Gaming enough for inviting us out there. It was a really nice to see. I talked to a couple people. Some of them joined our Discord after I talked to them. And one of them is like, well, I don't have a lot going on, so maybe I'll open up the Denton chapter effect. So I said, if you are, let us know when you're ready. Be awesome. So that was the festival I went to. And speaking of chapters starting up, we actually had one go up really quick. Like in the span of us starting this break and us coming back, the Birmingham, Alabama chapter. Oh, are you only hearing?
I got
No?
you just fine.
Out of their left speaker? Oh, Chris, you might want to fix your speaker plug-in.
Either that or ear infection.
All right. But back to what I was saying. The Birmingham, Alabama chapter. This chapter, like, these were some hard chargers who stepped up. They got all the information, all the paperwork, everything done, and they came in guns blazing. Chapter is up and running. They had their very first session as an official Roll to Heal chapter yesterday. So I want to say congratulations to them on that amazing job getting things going. And then we
Crazy.
also had another hard charging chapter that came up at the same time out in Mesa, Arizona. Same thing. They just went fire. They went the guns blazing, came in, got everything done. They have one chapter up and running, or one table up and running, and they're actually working on a second already, which is amazing to see. So
Yeah.
again, fantastic job by both of them. And Corey, he's been pushing very hard to get his
buddy,
up and running, and
Soon.
has his first session tomorrow. So congratulations to Buffalo, New York chapter as well.
I'm
Amazing
excited
job.
for you.
I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait to see more chapters come up. How does that make you feel, Corey, to finally get to that point? I know you've been fighting hard to get it done.
Man, it's so I've been born and raised out here. This is a tough, thick blue collar town. We genuinely, like, the area as a whole subscribes to I'm good,
Yeah.
and just trying to break that stigma episode we had a few back. It's deep here. Look, we had football team did pretty good in the playoffs this year. Hockey team did pretty good in the playoffs, and we get to here, and we're good. So it's a tough town to break the stigma in, but gave it some hell, and we're going to keep on going. I'm excited.
Takes time. It's always the hard part, right? You can't make it move any faster. It just takes time.
Yes.
Yes, she has.
Yeah, Chris brings
Yes,
up a
she
very
has.
big point. So we have our chapter development manager. Her name is Blue Wolf on Discord, and she has been hard charging, pushing very much, supporting all of these chapters who are coming up and starting to develop. She's even helping some of the chapters that are already with us build up more and get themselves going, and just the constant support that she is providing. It is always
Fantastic.
worth recognizing. Like, she's one of those people that's behind the curtain. You never see her, but she is vital to all the work that is going on within Roll to Heal. So it would be doing her an injustice if we didn't mention all the solid work that she does.
being a direct recipient of her work, I couldn't even fathom what she actually does. And it helps.
Yeah. So, and Chris has been working closely with her to kind of help her develop the tools that they've been using to get all the information out to all the new chapters. So it's great to like being the person who's been like sitting on the sidelines and just kind of watching it all develop. And like I have no part in it, and for good reason, because that's too many hands in that pot. But you know, Chris and Blue Wolf have been doing an amazing job getting everything together. Um, so we had all that, and then we also brought on a social media manager, someone who's going to focus solely on social media and interactions, and helping build all that stuff. Are there any in Washington? Buddy, there are no Washington chapters yet. We have had people come in and say, we'd like to do that.
Yeah, you're getting static.
Am I getting staticky? Let me see if this is going to get any better.
Nope.
Okay. Oh, glad I'm not not the only one that was hearing that.
1 second. Go away and things break, right?
Almost sounds like the old Atari. Did I just show how much gray really should be in this beard?
Yeah, how's that?
Nope.
About the same.
Oh, crap. Hmm. Good. That. Any better?
Nope.
Ah.
Well, Mike, if you're okay, Max and I can jump into starting tribe a little bit.
Well, I got a few more things I want to
I know you do.
bring up. Let's see. I don't know why this is being such a problem.
You want me to talk about what we're working on here in Gen Con?
Yeah, why don't you cover the Gen Con?
Okay. So for everybody else that has been following that, yeah, we have got tables actually launched up on the event section of Gen Con for 2026. We've got quite a few tables up and running listed. I think there's 6 spots posted at each table, and we've had 4 of them already sell out. So they are moving pretty quickly. The module that we are going to be running is from Keys. What was it? Keys from the Golden Vault, and we specifically picked the Reach for the Stars module. And that is you basically kind of a brief 30-second elevator pitch for this module is you're playing a group of operatives that are tracking down a guy by the name of Marcos, who is kind of an academic scholarly type who's been doing a bunch of research, trying to get extra knowledge about the planes and everything outside of the material realm. Since then, he's kind of become a recluse, locked himself up into his building, and people have not heard from him. So you get hired on to go in there, do some investigating, find out what's going on. Should be a good time. I think most of us that are going to be going as GMs for it. So there's going to be a table that's run by myself, Crystal. There's going to be a table run by Chris. I think you're running one as well, Blix. Yeah. So I forget everybody's name, but we've got 5 or 6 people at least that are going to be running tables there. And yeah, we got some surprises in store. We're gonna add some changes, some little tweaks to it, but it should be a good time. I'm excited for it. I've got I know one of my players, so yeah. The other thing too is if you guys are gonna buy tickets, do it soon to get your spot. Hey, Salty.
I can't wait. I've never been to one. I'm excited.
Oh, to a convention?
Yeah,
Hey, me too.
I can't wait.
We'll get to go first time convention to the big one.
Right? Yeah, let the
Pop
that
that real hard.
starting out in the middle.
Yeah. Not
Go
doing
bigger
something
for home, as they used to say, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for as a group. I think it's going to be a great time. There's also a couple events that we looked at. There's one there specifically that I think would be really good for anybody that is interested in Roll to Heal. It's a seminar on how tabletop RPGs have been helping veterans with mental health. So I know Crystal and I are going. I think Chris said he was looking at going to it as well. Blix, you're going to it too? Okay. So then, yeah, there's 4 of us that are looking at
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
going.
it. Okay. There's
a pile
another
of us.
one.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
We can hear him. Yeah, it's not coming through on the stream.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Device here. Yeah, no mic.
Chris has got you back in the left. And Cornhorn says you're good.
All right, you guys can hear me now?
That's what they're saying.
Perfect. Yes.
As long as it's only in Chris's left ear, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also in his right most times too. But yeah, we're gonna be at Gen Con. We've been saying that for months. We're still fundraising for it. Not much has moved on that fundraiser, as I can show here. It's still at the 1635. We're more than halfway still. But we also haven't been pushing it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there may or may not have been a 3-week break.
yeah, well, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And we all have normal things that every day that we have to get done. Corey spent like all last week in Canada for his real job. And Max has been, pushing hard to get a bunch of stuff done in his personal life and his job as well. So, there's a lot of things that go on, and, that's kind of the aches and pains of a nonprofit. Zach was joking with us, a month ago, nonprofit life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we got a good dose of that lately.
Wolf, man.
But we haven't been pushing the Gen Con fundraiser. But if people who can donate, or you want to just share it, by all means, please do. The funds will help us kind of recoup the costs that we're pulling out of pocket to make this experience happen and get our name out there more to the nation. And we weren't going to pass up this opportunity no matter what. So, but with that, we had something else exciting happen while we took this break, and we got our very first challenge coin in.
Oh,
now this thing,
yeah.
this thing is pretty awesome. I got it right here. And I mean, the camera is
Take it out of the sleeve.
Take it out of the sleeve.
Yes, sir.
Crack that seal.
Sorry, man.
So you can see.
Oh, that looks good. That's a beefy boy too. That's not just a small coin.
No, it is not. So, and then there's the back.
Oh, I like that.
But I mean, I don't know why I showed it on the camera like this. I can literally just pull up the video that I posted on Discord and show it off that way.
Does the guy in the back have a name? Not that I'm aware of. Not yet.
He does not.
Is that going to be the next poll we run?
Oh gosh.
I was gonna say,
We could bring that up too.
Enough time. Yeah.
So here's the video. I pulled up the video for this. So
we have not, and we're going. Oh yeah, that's why I brought that up, was I wanted to make sure we
There's
announced it as well.
there's the coin.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, and like Max said, this sucker is beefy. Like a lot of hard work went into getting this done.
That's awesome.
And if anyone is curious, no, the character on the back of this is not AI generated. I actually commissioned an artist to draw it, color it, and all that stuff. So that is a full artist's work permanently embossed on the back of our challenge coin.
That turned out great.
Yes.
That thing's phenomenal.
All right. So now that that's out of the way, we also had a 3-week-long polling session for the naming of our Phoenix. This was a wild turn of events that transpired. We started off with 9 names that we took, and then we broke it down to the final 3. The top 3 got it, and then it ended up tying in those final 3 with 2 names. So we did another round of polling with just those 2 names, and it's still tied. So we had a tiebreaker at the Mesquite, Texas chapter. We did a D20 roll off, and it actually had to go to 4 rolls because on the 3rd roll they tied. So it was pretty wild.
Don't feel bad, Salty. Mine didn't make it past the first round. So
yeah. But so with that, the Phoenix on the front of their challenge coin's name is Nova, and that will be the official name of our mascot going forward at Roll to Heal. So it was between Nova and Ember.
That got colored in a big old fat Sharpie on that poster board because he had already done the poster board for his project.
Oh, did it? Nice.
Yeah. So it went in the morning he turned it in.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah, so the challenge coin is available. We have it's a Zephy shop that your donation, you can say, I want a challenge coin, and you can go onto the Zephy shop. The link is in our Discord under the announcements, and I can also put a link to it. So I will copy this link. Oh, look at that. Corin beat me to it. Thank you, Corin. So it'll be on the Zephy. It is $35 donation. The $35 also includes the shipping costs, so that way you don't have to worry about extra shipping. Zephy does charge a little extra, but that's how they keep their lights on. And every dollar that you donate to us, so the 35, it comes directly to us. Like Zephy doesn't keep any of it, so it's important to note that. So you can get it on there.
Not like PayPal or Twitch where they take a percentage off of it.
No. Whatever you donate, we get. So that's the beauty of that. So it's 35 on there. And if you are going to be at Gen Con and you want to just wait and get it in person, we'll have them there. The minimum donation to receive a challenge coin as a gift to say thank you for supporting us is $30. So you come, you can meet us at Gen Con, give us $30, and we will happily give you a coin and share stories with you and, talk with you as much as you are willing to listen to us talk, especially Chris. So, don't think I'm missing anything. Oh, I didn't get to because my microphone was getting all messed up, but so our social media manager, she's brand new to the position. She just took over last week. Megan, also known as Salty Sailors in the Twitch chat, is she stepped up and she's helping us out and kind of we're doing our best to spread the workload amongst everybody who's already working for Roll to Heal, and Salty's helping Crystal out by taking that load off of her so she can focus on the other things that she needs to focus on, because it won't be long before her workload is about to double, if not triple. So it'll be a good time for Crystal to, focus in, polish things that she needs to get done. She's already starting, see? But, we're happy that Meg is joining us and helping us out. And if you're interested in joining us and helping out, come on the Discord, talk with us, and let us know what your skills are, and we'll see if we can't get you in to help us out in some shape or form.
I promise they don't bite.
No, we're generally pretty tame. Chris, as much as I would be happy to read the entire meaning of the logo, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I will read the first part, but not the whole logo breakdown. So it says meet Nova, our Phoenix. At the absolute center of Roll to Heal Nova, our Phoenix. In astronomy, a nova occurs when a star experiences a sudden massive influx of energy, causing it to burn up to 100,000 times brighter than before. Nova represents the incredible potential for explosive growth, rebirth, and resilience within every single one of us. But a star cannot burn in a vacuum. It requires fuel. It takes the collective strength, vulnerability, and presence of our entire Roll to Heal tribal community to feed Nova, keeping our shared fire burning at its absolute brightest so it can light the way for those still walking through the dark.
Love it.
Chris likes to give meaning to everything, and I love it. I love it. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. All right. Does everyone want me to, leave the video up, or you guys good? All right, Buddy, he says, speaking of light bulb moments, over the last couple of weeks, I am starting to work with a couple of organizations to train and become a veteran coach / mentor. So we'll be more involved in following your mental health discussions and such, among other things.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There are piles of them on YouTube.
There are. Some are better than others.
Yes. There is a progression.
All right. I will pause said video. I know you guys are just oohing and awing at it.
I am.
So good though.
It is a fantastic coin, and like even the video, like it's a good quality video, but like holding this thing in your hand, the video doesn't do it justice. I'm just sorry. Like all the little textures and stuff that the coin has is amazing. It is heavy. Yes, Meg says it's a heavy coin. The challenge
like
coin is
Man,
metal.
It looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right then. Yeah, it's an amazing coin. So, a lot has happened in the 3 weeks that we decided to take the break, and it's amazing to see. I went to a festival. We got the challenge coin in. Gen Con schedules up for our one-shots that we're going to do when we're there. Birmingham, Alabama, Mesa, Arizona, and Buffalo, New York all have their tables starting up and pushing on.
Oh, that's great, Salty.
A dentist handed my handed my purse to me, and I had like 7 challenge coins in it, and he was like, "Is there a brick in there?"
Nice.
I mean, yeah, they're pretty hefty. Um, you wouldn't think so, uh, but yeah, it's amazing. We've given out we've had 10 donations since then, and 10 challenge coins have made it out into the wild, which is great to see. All right then. So, Corey, you got anything else you would like to pass on before we dive into our topic tonight?
Oh, other than congratulations on new chapters. I followed them on Discord. They put in some work.
Yeah, we've
Good
even had
job.
a couple recent members that have joined that have been extremely more active than kind of what was expected of them. So we're watching, we're noticing, we're seeing the people that come in and show up and put in that extra effort. It goes a long ways, and we appreciate you guys doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't go unnoticed, guys. Like we like I can't say it enough. We greatly appreciate all the hard work that everyone puts in, and we, even if we don't say anything at the time, we are watching always.
Bom, bom, bom.
But yeah, like fantastic job in general. Especially like when the new people come in and everyone's just welcoming and they're having conversations with them, and they're just like, oh, I don't know if this is right for me. I mean, I saw one, I think it was this morning, and the guy was like, I don't know. It's like, well, they're not forcing you, but
Yep.
if you're interested, they're willing.
Not going to tell you no. We
No.
have stuff for you.
Yep.
We can help.
Are ads on? You just got an ad. They shouldn't be on. I turned them off last time this happened. Let me
But
check real quick.
Corin, I thought because we were a nonprofit, we didn't get those.
Let me just double check it real quick.
I could be wrong.
Ads. No, ads are off. It's just a Twitch thing.
Boo.
Yeah, that is
in the middle of our first one. I subscribed to it just to turn them off.
Yeah, that is a thing that is set up where if you subscribe to our channel, you won't see them.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that shouldn't have happened. Sorry, guys. Just randomly blew up the speaker. All right. Yeah, nothing we can really do about that with Twitch's thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I
keep trying
to. Yeah, that happened when I went back to the Twitch channel core, and it was on the front page, and there was a live stream of Latino club music playing. I have no control over it. I just muted it. All right. Max, I know you kind of chimed in there. You got anything you would like to share before we get into the topic?
No, just other than what we said.
Perfect. All right then. They're supposed to be because of all the steps we took through. Yeah, we have the PayPal giving fund set up through Twitch, but for whatever reason, Twitch is still gonna just pop ads up when they decide.
Love it.
Yeah, I guess they got to get their money somehow, right?
Yeah,
it's the way it's all going.
Yeah.
Look at all the other streaming services that you pay for that you still have ads.
It hurts. It hurts.
Yes.
Yep. All right then. But that's not here or there. Let's talk about Tribe by Sebastian Junger. So, I'm not going to start with this one. Corey, you You highlighted
Oh,
up and down, left and right with your book. So, what are your
oh,
initial
I've got
thoughts of the book?
so I'm not gonna lie, Chris, you know you preach it. We can't deny you preach it. And I was like, I do not have time. I do not have time. I do not have time. Finally, I went and bought the book, and every time I went to sit down to read it, here I am in my recliner after. So I pulled a maxi. I went out and got the Audible book to boot, and I had taken the first time I listened to it end to end. I had taken a trip up to Canada, and wow, if this isn't us! Like I almost called Chris while I was on the road to apologize to him because this is us. This is I understand now why it um it's not what I thought it was going to be. Anybody that hasn't read it, go get you a copy. It's worth it. I like you said, I took the highlighter right to the book, and I know anybody sees this, picks it up, they're gonna thumb through, and there's some interesting highlights that are some interesting conversation starters in here.
Absolutely. Meg's got the best audiobook. Her husband reads it to her. It's fantastic.
And free.
And it's free. Yeah. You might be able to find it
Um,
on Kindle, Corin. I mean, it's a very short read. It's not a lot. Like the book is like not thick at all. It's a short read, but it is a good um like perspective. He goes into the details on like the Indian tribes and how they were as a society and still are to some extent. And then he kind of transitions into um like what the experiences of people that he knew living in the war zones, and then he talks about his own personal um experiences with PTSD, and then he kind of ties it all together into a great big bow, talking about veterans and the things that they deal with, and how the effects of society play an integral part into how they have such a difficult time reintegrating into that society. So,
Which
all in all,
a great book. And like when I went through and read it, and like when you talk or listen to it through Spotify, um, when you talk about like modern society and how much it just separates you from everything, like again, it was one of those moments where you hear that, you're reading it, and you're like, all right, it can't be that bad. Pause, and then you kind of retrospectively look at everything, and you're like, oh my god,
uh-huh.
this is terrible.
mhm,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
The
like there are parts
3 hour
of this
book, the
book
first, yeah.
like there were parts of this book that I'm just like, I've been saying this for years. Just to myself, but I've been saying it for years. uh,
It is
Oh,
a wake up call, Crystal.
I like how he
Buddy's.
opened it. Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry.
No, Buddy says that his dad worked as a historian with the Blackfoot tribe in Montana. So he already heard a lot of the information that the book related, but the book really tied it all together for him. Yeah. Like there are
Absolutely.
things that I can honestly like say that I just kind of like overlooked entirely, and then reading through the book I was going back and I'm like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense now." Just kind of tying it all together.
So I like how he started out with that minimal tribe of two on his little backpacking trek. And it truly the selflessness of that old man just
Mhm.
it sets at the end of the book you get how it sets the tone for the book, but in the beginning you're like, tribe, two people, what on earth is going on here? But just how hard times create that necessity that old guy wasn't going to let that kid up on the highway just go out on his own with nothing. He would at least stop to check.
Well, and, like even he mentions in that interaction how he was defensive, and the guy was when he was approaching him, he basically like got ready to like fight or flight kind of mentality. And then when the guy asked him if he had any food, he literally lied and said, "No, I don't have a lot." And then like he got completely, and he talks about how it threw him off completely, that the guy just gave him his food.
Yeah, with like
Yeah.
nothing, with asking for nothing in return, right?
Yeah, nothing attached.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, especially doing like daily interactions out in society, a lot of us see everything kind of transactional. So it's really easy to get defensive, especially when you're out by yourself on the highway.
Yeah, especially because he does kind of like paint a broad picture of what's going on in that scene, and how um people are driving by giving him questionable looks. And he did say like one of them threw a beer bottle or something at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So obviously his tension is already high because of the situation, and this guy just randomly coming up on the side of the highway to talk to him. So Salty says, I grew up in Holsbo along with the Suquamish tribe, which was very much part of our education growing up. I'm excited to see how much is familiar to me. Yeah, I mean, he talks about
Can you read this? Yeah.
multiple tribes in the book, and how there's a lot of correlation between how their societies work, even though they're miles apart.
Not just miles apart. When he's talking about, Mike, when you say multiple tribes, he's talking about multiple tribes globally.
Yep.
There is more than one continent referenced in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it, once again, it's one of those, as you're reading it, you're like, huh, really? And you stop and you think about it for a second or two, and you're like, no, that makes a whole lot of sense.
That's right. Crystal says, I watched the movie Wind Talkers recently, and having been through the book, the tightness of the Navajo stung even more, and the bond of the unit in general. Yeah, like
Those
it's.
guys were good.
Mm-hmm. And then Buddy says, served over in Bremerton and Everett. Have been to Holsbo quite often when I was still up north, down in Vancouver now. Nice. And then Chris says, the public or tribal cleansing and also the shared responsibilities. It all falls back on our
Oh,
primitive
that.
nature as human beings do. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a big old chunk of that highlighted later in the book.
Yeah.
Right. I was trying not to just highlight the entire book. I literally thought about just taking a picture of the book with the highlighter on top and just a little caption that said
Done.
yes.
Yeah, that section especially to me kind of hit pretty hard, especially when it was talking about like the process of doing like the individual cleanse, but also kind of going back home and doing the communal cleanse. I've had some close friends of mine that have really struggled with PTSD, and watching them only get kind of that individual cleanse, kind of the like they figured things out, how to compartmentalize, how to process it, how to box it up, so to speak, to where they could kind of go back to normal life, but they never got that kind of communal processing, right? And then you look at a lot of the healthcare services that we do or don't get for the people that suffer with PTSD or TBIs or these other injuries that kind of lead to kind of a dysfunction or things processing incorrectly. Like it really made me go back and think about how big that gap is in our society. That
Yep.
we don't have a really well-defined communal response for this, other than
No,
our brother and sisters who have already been through it, hopefully finding somebody that either served with us, is local to us, and being able to try and make a connection there.
yeah, like how he quotes how Israel handles it because they're what's the proper word? Not draft, but the fact that everybody basically serves in the military at some point.
The mandatory
And it's
service,
not
yeah.
even, yeah, thank you, mandatory service. It's not even a thing. It's just you jump right back in. Everybody's got your back.
Yep.
And it's it's funny you go there because it's Memorial Day weekend and we're all gonna deal with this weekend. I hate this weekend for the strict purpose of how many times I get told thank you.
Yeah.
I oh
Like
I
I appreciate it,
I'll
but
have a sore I'll have a sore in my cheek by the end of the weekend.
you're like, I appreciate it,
Just
but the weekend is not for me. I made it
yep.
home.
And it's it like we all get it. Our community gets it.
Yeah.
Most folks don't. But like Israel, they all get it because they all have to deal with it. If they don't literally see it out their back door.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because I forgot what it was. I was listening to some speech over the weekend between Friday and now. But they were talking about like the possibility of doing drafts here. And one of the things they said was one of the things that got brought up is that our system has been built for good and bad, has been built on this professional warrior class for the military, right? And they've come to find out with like looking back at Vietnam when they did do the draft, how when they forced it, these long-term wars got shut down. So something like Iraq, Afghanistan wouldn't have been as possible or easily as possible and feasible to make happen if it was done via draft, because there would have been more of a public pushback on it, which in some ways that's a great thing because we don't need to be forever wars. Like we don't need any more of that
Yeah.
stuff. It was kind of like, again, another thing that you said that just kind of clicked in retrospect, kind of reflection on some of that stuff is like, yeah, we don't have mandatory service like many other countries do, partially because of how big of a country population wise as we are, that
Yeah.
that 1% is enough.
Is enough.
Yeah.
Whereas I was thumbing through looking for the highlight. To exactly that point, Israel, half of them
Yeah.
have served. At least half is what where did you get the line?
And I have bumped into more than one individual who was from Israel who had mentioned about serving. So yeah, I would believe it easily.
The other thing is we have and I got the highlight right here. We have conditioned ourselves as a society that you someone that comes home with PTSD, someone that comes home with problems, broken, that they're a victim.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, you spent all your time leading up to go do what you're going to do to lose that mentality because that's the last we all know that's the last mentality that you want going into that scenario is having a victim mentality. You're going to be in big trouble. And It's the highlight I quoted was ex-combatants shouldn't be seen or be encouraged to see themselves as victims. One can be deeply traumatized, as firemen are by deaths of both colleagues and civilians, without being viewed through the lens of victimhood. I know the things that I've seen and done predominantly as a firefighter. If I took that road, I would be in deep trouble and society would let me do it.
Yep. I firsthand experience with that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
I watched one of my mentors basically just within literally within going through P school to like 2 years, he was gone.
It's interesting because you bring up the um speech that you listened to, Max, about the draft
Mm-hmm.
and how people can get upset and angry and kind of anti this, anti that, and the big thing that usually comes up in that particular moment is anti draft, and they actually talk about that in this book with correlation to the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually talks about his own experience in that, right? Because there's a section and I particularly highlighted this quote. So this is a conversation that he had with his father, and he knew his father was anti-war, and he says that his father's reaction surprised him, and what his father said was, "You don't owe your country nothing, you owe it something, and depending on what happens, you might owe it your life." So that particular quote to me, like, especially considering that this is Memorial Day weekend, that particular quote hits pretty hard when you think about the people who have gone to war or served this country, and those that sacrificed and paid the ultimate price. Like that right there, the fact that his father was so anti-war but said, "You still owe this country something."
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of how as a cultural and societal mindset, that's how it used to be back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the whole like being a productive member of society, giving back, making it a better place than what you
yes.
found it, right?
Yep.
And we won't get into that side of the discussion because there could be a whole encyclopedia and all that on that. But I mean, even there was a lot of people that I shipped out with that were against the reason for going over there. But we're like, all right, cool. Well, if we got a mission, let's go do it.
That purpose, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of comments, and I'm gonna go ahead and
Right,
pause
we
and read
barely
some of them.
started, and
I
it's
know.
It's flying.
I
So,
didn't
buddy,
expect that.
Buddy says the early tribal mentality, while culturally different, is amazingly similar no matter where you look. Its advancement in culture, science, industry, tech,
Yep.
etc., that has really been the divergent force in tearing down that tribal mentality and the things civilians have lost that first responders and the military has maintained. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into you know the 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 purpose, like we all have a job to do when we're in, and we know what that job is, and we're a cog in a much bigger machine to keep this going and get the mission done. And then you know the rest of society seems to have lost that because of things like science and the industry and tech. And then Chris, the way the society is developed requires us to rely on the leaders' government because they have separated people from that tribal lifestyle. The whole Industrial Revolution really being the era that began tearing that tribal way apart. And then Crystal chimes in, before the Industrial Revolution, if your neighbor's barn burned down, the whole village built a new one because everyone's survival depended on it. Today, we call an insurance company and an outsourced contractor. We traded mutual independence for individual independence, and it's making us miserable.
Say what you will, but the Amish still do it, and I think it's great.
Oh man, they're
Have
they're
you seen?
alive and well around me. It's a thing to behold.
Absolutely, we got decent sized Amish community out here in the Midwest, and anytime we get a chance to buy stuff from them, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
I mean, when I lived up in Maine,
You know what?
there was a furniture store that all the stuff was built by the Amish.
Yeah.
They had it brought in and sold, and then they would send the profits back to them.
It's
My
amazing
kid's swing
quality.
set and my shed in the backyard, both Amish built.
Yep.
It's the three of us, grown men, could each go hop on a swing right now, and it's
Mhm.
been out in Western New York weather for 8 years. I have all the full confidence we could go swing like we were 12 years old again.
Might take you up on that.
Chris
Hey,
said it's crazy though that once you have been introduced to that tribal lifestyle, how much it is missed when it's taken away. I mean,
there's
it's
a
not
whole
when you think
bunch of
about
that.
it though. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why so many people struggle with it. Is it's that you feel like a big hole has just been punched through you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that this is all happening today because I literally just watched a video from someone who, I'm not on TikTok, but he's also on Facebook. He posts his video on Facebook too. I watch his stuff on Facebook, and occasionally my wife will show some of the videos that she finds of his. But today, I guess he's getting out of the army. He's retiring, and
Mhm.
he talked about how he's going to be sad that he's going to miss all those people that he's
Yeah.
built those relationships with. And I was like, yeah, that's real.
Well, it's like there's another guy that I watch. I forget his handle, but he's a first sergeant now, and he's talking about like medically retiring when he gets his time in and getting out. And he's talking about like all this work that he's doing beforehand to prepare himself to separate and to lose all these connections, to lose the purpose and lose all, everything that comes with ETSing and getting out. And there's other people that if you watch videos of them being like, yeah, I did the same thing. And then like 2 weeks later, I couldn't handle it. I re-enlisted. Like one guy went back into doing freaking Green Beret things because he's like, I got out, like quit doing cool guy stuff, like looked at my prospects of like, oh, it's go work for corporate. Nah, screw this. And then re-upped because that gap was so significant.
Yeah. Buddy says, I think it is a better thing, and this is in relation to the whole drafting
draft.
thing.
Yeah.
It says, I think it is a better thing and would rather serve with volunteers than someone forced into service. Saw in Italy with the Carabinieri. Hope I said that right. And it is, let's just say, not good. Yeah, I remember you sharing that story, buddy, a while back about how you were dealing with somebody who was in, but they didn't want to be, so you deliberately was trying to make everyone else miserable. Yeah, I remember that.
Knocked everything over.
And then Corin says, I'd say that tribal mentality is still pretty dang strong in the countryside. It just doesn't get much attention from the big news networks because most of them are big city people, not country people.
Well,
yes
there's
and
also
no.
there's a part of that goes back to what Chris said with the politics.
I was say there's
And
a
I
bit of that.
absolutely highlighted it in the book too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we probably all highlighted that same line.
The ultimate betrayal of the tribe isn't acting competitively. That should be encouraged. But predicating your power on the excommunication of others from the group. That is exactly what politicians of both parties try to do when
Yep.
they spew venomous rhetoric about their rivals. That is exactly what media figures do when they go beyond criticism of their fellow citizens and openly revile them.
Yeah.
That line.
Yep, I got that one highlighted too.
if nothing else in the book rung with me, I was like, wow.
Yep.
And that just goes to both of their like, yeah, the reason why they don't know how good we have it in the big cities is because the news doesn't cover us. And I'm
Mhm.
quite all right with that.
Keeps them out of the area.
Yes.
But you know,
Oh, I didn't scroll down yet. What?
no.
Oh,
Just
So
responding to what you said.
yeah.
ah,
So Crystal says our biology hasn't caught up to our technology. We still have hunter-gatherer hardware running on a 21st century OS.
That is so very true until you meet weirdos like me. I want that Neuralink update to the firmware.
Oh gosh. Yeah, you're the first volunteer for the Matrix.
Mm. Not quite that bad, no.
And
Give
then
me all the augments and enhancements, though.
sure. You're going full cyberpunk.
Man, I'm telling you. But he said, having been detached from the country and small town living as I have, I didn't even think about that, but it does make sense. Plus, farming communities seem to be more tribally focused as well, which also makes sense. I mean, it's if you look even in modern society, there's so many remnants that we have left, even in big cities, to like small town life. Like the school year itself, depending on where you're at, is built around harvest.
Mhm.
Like that
all of
still,
New
there's
York
still,
State.
yeah, there's still remnants of that stuff, even in big cities. Um,
Well, I
even
do,
like
and I didn't.
daylight savings time is still that way, kind of.
It just needs to go away. I know
It
so
does
many
need to
farmers
go
that
so
hate that.
way.
I know
not
so many farmers that hate that more than I do.
not to rip that band-aid off, but yeah.
Too late.
But with what you were saying with the big city stuff, and I didn't highlight any of it, so I wouldn't even be able to begin to look. Like how the Blitzkrieg, this was in the book, the Blitzkrieg when German was bombing London,
Mm-hmm.
that it brought the London government was so fearful that the civilian population just wouldn't be able to handle the terror of everything going on. And there's accounts in here of guys making their lunch, grabbing their briefcase, and trudging it to work because the subway's closed because that's now the fallout shelters.
Or like, what about the guys
And
that have been so defunct and couldn't function, but the second there was a crisis, they were like, "Oh, hey, I know what to do."
yeah, yes,
Like that switch from like being, "Oh, there's something wrong with me," or "I don't fit in with society anymore," to, "Okay, the world's falling apart. I know what to do."
Hmm. Well,
I
those
thought
would
that
be
was
the
interesting.
yeah, like those are the people that you'll rely on in those times.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And I mean, to your point, Corey, when he's talking about like the bombings going on during World War II in England, and he mentions in there about how it became like the social norm to just be part of their daily lives to be bombed, and how they adapted and adjusted for that. And when they had the bombing shelters, they created these little pockets of tribes where they had a hierarchy of who was in charge and who was monitoring
Mhm.
things and looking
Yep.
out for each other. um
And it
s-
had nothing to do with the politics of the government.
no, it did not. um let's see. Chris goes, think about how connected communities used to be back then too. Read studies about simply putting the driveway in the back of the house alleyway shows a huge percentage in less community building over those that have driveways in the front. Yep, and there's truth to that.
So I can remember my grandmother, she bitched about it all the time that they built her house backwards on the lot. because the driveway went in. It was a mass produced neighborhood. The driveway was, you entered from the driveway into the kitchen because of the flooring, so you weren't walking on the carpeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
The front of the house, the front room, the living room, the front room faced the backyard away from the street.
Privacy.
And that, well, no, it wasn't privacy. It was to keep the gunk at the front door. Or, well, not the front door, but on the
Kitchen.
either,
Yeah.
in those days, it was all linoleum or hardwood. And the
Okay.
front room was always carpeted.
Yep.
At least in, like, we come home in the wintertime, you're not dragging your snow-covered shoes all over the carpet. Trust me, mom would have a problem with that.
Mhm.
But that's going to what Chris was saying on how they physically turn the houses around backwards.
Mhm.
I wonder if that's how much of that time frame correlates to a lot of the separation.
Yeah. Wow. It
I
just
know
keeps
we got a lot
coming.
to catch up on.
So
Yeah,
Buddy,
yeah.
he brings up he was going to bring up the Amish and the Hutterite communities in Montana,
Oh,
which
there's a bunch of them.
he believes are an offshoot of Amish, still a Germanic religious community with many similar Amish traits. Current tribalism in action has taken him has taken Buddy years and age to really see what the more experienced open eyes. Yep. The Crystal, the primitive brain thrives on shared eye contact, shared goals, and shared stories. And then Buddy talks about the book really hit home for him as he retired 16 years ago and was divorced within a year and a half later. That really hit hard. I have been a loner ever since, and reading the book has made me be more introspective on my life. I think that, among other things, has pushed me into the veteran mentor direction. That's awesome.
Which is good. I mean, it's a community that direly needs good mentors and just peers to help people out.
Yeah.
So kudos.
Well, and a lot of it too. You think about um, people who leave the service and like the whole purpose driven, and you've got the job and you know what to do and you know that environment, and then you just leave that and you are in this whole new environment that you suddenly have no knowledge about or how you're supposed to work it. And like you said, Max, you knew somebody who was out for 2 weeks and just re-enlisted, was like, nope, I'm done. Like it can be scary.
I can't. I mean,
Mhm.
in the switch itself, like even if you're lucky, you get out, you find a job, you find something that gives you a sense of purpose again. It's not the same, right? It's not the same intensity. It's not the same level of mission or goal that you would have when you're in. Like for me, getting out, the very first thing I did was like, okay, cool. I need to go get my college degree because that was like one of the main reasons I joined was so I could afford to go to college. So I still had it, but like I wasn't showing up at a rigid time. I didn't have a bunch of rigid guardrails. Something came up, I could be like, hey, I got sick, family member got sick, had to take care of them. This assignment's going to be late. Are you cool with it? Okay, cool, bye. Right? There was a lot more kind of play it by the cuff or the seat of your pants. And then even what was tangible, right? That we would see on like a mission complete. There was you had hard evidence, hard tangible sources of being like, okay, cool, we accomplished what we needed to do. And a lot of civilian life isn't run that way. It's just, okay, cool, you did the thing. Good job. Here's another thing to do.
Yeah.
So with all of us having served and some of us in other aspects too, think about the organization of things, right? Not just, you know, you show up at this time, you do your task, you leave at this time. But like all the systems and intricacies that are in place within those organizations, whether it's a military mechanical shop, every wrench has a spot, right?
Yep.
And same thing with like an EMT. Every little like BP cuffs, heart rate monitors, all their medications that they would have on their ambulance. It's all in its own little intricate place. And he kind of talks a little bit about this through littering at one point. And I did highlight that because I thought this was interesting, because he says when you throw trash on the ground, you apparently don't see yourself as truly belonging to the world that you're walking around in. Now that is a pretty common thing that I know I've witnessed, but here's one that I think a lot of more people have seen, but it doesn't quite click that same way. Shopping carts. Of the three of us, who walks the shopping cart to the shopping cart return?
Every freaking time.
Even if
I'll
it's
grab one.
100 feet away.
And I will death glare you if you leave it
Yes.
in a parking spot next to your car.
Yes.
There is a special place in hell for people like that.
Yes, there is.
But that's part of that system, right?
Oh,
I'm
When you
so bad
think
with it.
about
The
that.
kids have queued in.
I
Yeah.
yell at my kids like, no, get your butt back there, get that cart and put it in the corral.
Yep.
No, my kids will tell you. That's not where that goes.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the parking lot. It's like, yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like the littering was good, but I thought the shopping carts was better, because it's like that's like a key system function. We know where it
Oh
goes,
man.
and we abide by that every time. And when
they
you
put
see
these
no one
things
do it,
there for you to use.
yeah. And when you see
It's not like
someone
you gotta go
not
all
do
the
it,
way back.
it just drives you nuts. You're just like, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm not the only one. Yay.
Oh no, you're not. Trust me.
I do remember. I'm not gonna like quote it or anything. I just do remember that there was a correlation between, um, how like someone who did a observation study on people that return carts and don't return carts, and like he would like flag them down after they did the action or didn't do the action, and ask them some questions. I don't remember all the details of it because it was like easily 10 years ago. But
Yeah.
it was, I do remember like it being somewhat interesting at what he was correlating between the two.
I mean, they've even done studies like kind of since then, and it's one of the like indicators for like a high trust versus low trust region within society, right?
Okay.
Is like that a lot of stuff that is honor system. So like the little hand carts that you carry, if you don't put those back in the little holster it's supposed to go into, if you don't return your carts, I mean, there's a bunch of indicators that like you pull it together and you look at the people that do this and you're like, you're not very trustworthy.
Halloween candy.
Yes, that would be another good index. Like put a sign out with please take one, and then sit in the bushes and watch how many people just walk up and grab a handful.
Right.
My son is brutal. Man, this is probably three or four Halloweens ago. He was behind a group of kids, and they were the kids that were grabbing fistfuls. And he's the kid that grabs one.
Yeah.
Finally, about halfway down the block, he's walking up as they're at the porch, and he's just like, "Would you knock it off and leave some for everybody else?"
Good.
For him. Good for him.
I'm not gonna lie, proud papa moment.
All right.
So Chris, I mean, again, Chris brings up a good point. So he says that there are literally communities within city that stay extremely clean, but they are very tight-knit communities and thrive on that. I've seen it, especially living in Denver during the time that I did. where you could walk a block and a half and you could go from a tidy neighborhood to you're like, oh, oh, hold on, buddy. What are you walking up to me for? Like I had a guy one night try to open my car door while I was in it.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's like I've seen it in Denver. I've seen it out here where we live now. But it's very much like it's the community itself is a lot closer. It's, people actually wave to you in those areas. They say hi, they stop and talk. They see you out mowing your yard. They walk up to you, ask how your day's going. And then there's sections where you don't do that. You mind your own business, and that's that.
Yep. I've been so busy. My neighbor called me last week. He's like, "Sorry, man, I got to mow the lawn. I can't stand it. You're gonna look like crap."
That's fair.
I got home from Canada and I wanted to drive down the block. I was like, "Oh no, I am that guy."
Way to go. So, a lot of people are giving great examples of like society and how certain societies are closer and others are not so close and things like that. And the book does I think, a really good job of kind of showing how and I think it's worth noting, even though he only says veteran, um, this could easily apply to a first responder or a healthcare worker. But
Absolutely.
there's a spot in here where he says, today's veterans often come home to find that although they're willing to die for their country, they're not sure how to live for it. It's hard to know how to live for a country that regularly tears itself apart along every possible ethnic and demographic boundary. And like that can easily be said for a first responder and a healthcare worker too. The amount of sacrifice and service that they put into every day of going back to work, doing the job, helping people out, and then just turning around and seeing the constant clashing between political parties or one demographic and another, and how we constantly see people pushing back on one another. And where was it? I think it was just really shortly after that. Sebastian Junger actually went and he talked to somebody. Oh, here it is. Rachel Yehuda of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, and he quoted her saying, "It's like, if you want to make a society work, then you don't keep underscoring the places where you're different. You underscore your shared humanity."
Yes.
And she goes, "I'm appalled by how much people focus on differences. Why are you focusing on how different you are from one another and not on the things that unite us?"
Yeah, especially shared experiences too.
Mm-hmm. But it's like we've become so divided. I'm not trying to make this a political thing at all. It's just that's the easiest reference in today's society. If you're liberal or conservative, like it's that constant. If you're not with me, you're against me. And I even made that comment to Corey when he was here in Dallas in December. We were talking about how people will share that meme, or not. I guess you could call it a meme at this point, a political meme of Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, where it's Padme is in the Republic, and she goes, "This is how democracy dies," to the roaring applause. He's like, a lot of people like to share that one, but then I instantly lean to the other one that happens later in that, when it's between Anakin and Obi-Wan, where he says, "If you're not with me, you're against me."
Yep.
And the worst part is, Max, you ran into this a million times. I know you have, maybe not a million, but enough. You roll up onto a scene and it's definitely, folks, without your political views, without this, without that. I wear my opinions broadly and I truly don't care. and the first 30 seconds, you'll get almost the get away from me look.
I've
So they
been
realize that you need, I'm here. What do you got? What do you need? Let me help.
I have
And
been
it's
flat
just,
out called a racist for responding to a domestic violence situation only to show up and be like, I don't care what country you're from, we don't beat our wives here. Like, call me whatever name in the book you want.
yeah,
I give two F's. You can go right out the door with the sheriffs, and I'm going to deal with the situation in here. Goodbye.
yep.
And it was all
like,
all because I wore something that looked similar to a cop's uniform, and because I didn't look a certain way. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've hundreds of times.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
God, this has got to stop.
Right. Buddy says he finally got a full-time job after the last couple of years, a bit of an employment drought. He could talk for an hour about how the position doesn't fulfill me or my need for a mission or my ability to use my experience and skill set because civilian rules are so absurd and overly picky. I'm definitely at a crossroads on how to approach life moving forward.
You shrink the tribe, my dude. Shrink the tribe. Look at your what you got to do for your family. Find the couple people that you can be friends with, and do what you got to do for the family.
Yep. And then he says he curses out the shopping cart graveyard that is the store parking lot when they pull into the store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got on the shopping cart conversation a lot.
Oh
Or it
man.
says that was a big shock here in Dallas. Nebraska, you never see the carts in the middle of the lot. Then
I'm gonna go with your trustworthy neighborhood theory.
yeah. The quarter for the Aldi's cart.
I just leave mine in there. I'm that nice guy that you get a surprise when you show up.
Oh, that's nice of you.
I mean, buddy, to your point where you bring up talking about like the fire districts and the PD departments and all that, and why there's such a huge correlation or almost a one-to-one transition from military over to them, it's because there's so many residuals that we were looking for from the military community in the first responder job role,
Oh, yeah.
in the firehouse, in the police department. I mean, that was one of the main driving factors for me getting into the fire department for a long time, was because I missed it. I missed like showing up and knowing that the guy you're riding on the medic with has got your back. And if you run into a hard situation, you're both going to do a break check. You're going to look, be like, all right, cool. We're missing something. What else is going on? What did I miss? What did I not think of? You don't get that in the average corporate job. And if you do find something like that, count
Embrace
yourself.
it.
Yeah. Count yourself lucky. Like right now I've got a team, most of the team I can count on in that way. And like, okay, cool. I'm missing something. What are you guys thinking? But that's why there's such a high concentration with fire and police and veterans.
Absolutely. Now we can go into great detail about this next topic. But we do touch on it a lot on here. But one very interesting thing he talks about in this book is the PTSD, and he shares his own experiences with it, and how it appeared for him. And I think one of the very interesting things about this is he never served. He was a journalist, and he was overseas reporting on the wars. Um, and when he came back, he actually had his own um, episode of PTSD that just happened out of nowhere. So I'm gonna read that real quick because I think that's important to kind of show if no one has an idea of what PTSD could look like or how it could suddenly affect somebody. I think this was a great example of somebody who didn't even know what was happening in that moment and how it affected him. So he says by the time I got home, though I'd stopped thinking about that or any of the other horrific things we'd seen, casualties from an infantry assault through a minefield, starving civilians, MiG jets circling us, looking for a place to drop their bombs. I mentally buried all of it until one day, a few months later, when I went to the into the subway at rush hour to
Mm.
catch the C train downtown. Suddenly, I found myself backed up against an iron support column, convinced I was going to die. For some reason, everything seemed like a threat. There were too many people on the platform. The trains were moving too fast. The lights were too bright. The world was too loud. I couldn't really explain what was wrong, but I was more scared than I'd ever been in Afghanistan. So that right there just really kind of surprised me, um, to get a detailed view from someone else. Like I don't think I've ever experienced something like that, but I can fully see someone else, not just him, experiencing something like that. So him being able to write that in there, I think, can kind of show how it can just happen out of nowhere.
And I thought he did a good job explaining certain details about it too, because it's a vivid description, right? Of like
Mm-hmm.
everything feeling too loud. There was too many people there. There was too much light. Like it was the senses or his senses were being overwhelmed, which resulted in that like positive feedback, that growing sensation of danger.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in situations where some of that has happened, but not all of it together. Like I've responded to calls where we finished and I kind of like nervously chuckle in the back of the fire truck and like we could have all died there, couldn't we? And everybody was like, dude,
Yes. Too soon.
yeah.
You at least got to be at the firehouse before you make that joke.
I mean, if you're lucky.
Right.
But it's like I said, I thought it was a really good descriptor. I thought it was an interesting way that he presented it because, like you said, he wasn't out there pulling triggers. He was out there doing wartime journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to be able to kind of still get the intensity of those moments and then to recall to it in a safe environment. And like I said, for me personally, it painted a very clear picture.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a really good job of like going through his own experience and how he found out that what he experienced was PTSD. Um and
Because
he was kind of talking to his buddy.
as I say, didn't he share some of these moments with like one of his friends later on in the book? And she like sat him down and was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And that was probably like the first time that he kind of clocked it himself, like, oh no,
Oh,
no, I'm
this
not
is a
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, and what's good too is he goes into like the history of PTSD.
Hmm.
So he says, he talks about how before it was labeled as such in 1980, how it was conceived as
Shell shock.
treason, shell shock, cowardice,
Yeah.
all those kinds of things that, you know, painted in a negative light. And then thinking about that even back then and in today's society, you still see that. You think about people who uh, are experiencing those things and they get told, "Oh, you're just being a coward or you're weak or suck it up."
Yep.
Pretty sure we've all heard that one in our life.
I have never said the word "suck it up," Buttercup.
I think our go-to phrase was "suck it up, princess," so it was even more demeaning. God.
But yeah, he does go into detail about that. And then he also goes into detail about people who have it who may not necessarily have ever been in a combat zone, and how that stigma can play out among veterans in their own community. It's like, how do you have PTSD? You weren't in a combat zone.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
even within our own group, we're dealing with that stigma of
Which is funny
Uh,
because like my dad was recently diagnosed with it. I remember him telling me about an interaction he had where he was going to a diner and he has DV plates. And this young kid, like my era veteran, so the GWAT, like pulled up, got out of his truck, was going to get breakfast, meet up with a bunch of old heads just to have coffee in the morning. And the kid was like, "Oh, you're a disabled vet. You don't." It's like, "What you serve in?" And he was like, "Oh, Desert Shield." He's like, "How?" And he asked me, I forgot how it brought up, but he was like, "Yeah, PTSD." And he was like, "How you weren't in a combat zone? How the hell do you have PTSD?" And like it just set my dad off to the point where he just like packed his stuff up and left. And what he had not realized was is like again, like just because you're not in a combat zone doesn't mean dangerous crap doesn't happen. So like my dad's ship had a 500-pound bomb dropped on it, and he was literally walking to the impact zone.
well,
But
and
because go ahead.
trauma doesn't necessarily correlate to, impact, like
Right.
combat, or like some sort of explosion. Like, look at anyone in EMS.
Mm-hmm.
You walk up on a scene and you see something that you're not conditioned to
Traumatizing.
see. It's traumatizing.
Yep.
Like,
had one
y-
the other day. I should be able to talk about it legally in a couple of years. Yes, I
It's,
know exactly what you're talking about. It's
I think
oh, this is happening right now.
I think our groups can be sometimes the worst offenders of that, of like trying to segregate, like, oh no, you don't fit in this little bubble.
yeah. Well, and like, it's like I got diagnosed with PTSD, but mine is because of the constant dealings of search and rescue,
Mhm.
not finding those people, migrants, trying to help them eat anything because they're like on the verge of death from starvation. Like, those are things that you deal with on a regular basis. You don't think about them until you bring them up later to someone who has no clue what you were dealing with, and they're like, "Oh, are you
Yep.
okay?"
Yeah.
So it can manifest itself in multiple ways. It's just putting that expectation out there that yes, they're different, but they're
Yep.
all the same.
Yeah.
Like I
Buddies.
know
So Buddy posted in chat who's saying that it was George Carlin that originally talked about the dumbing down of language and going from shell shock to post-traumatic stress disorder, and that has made it more soft and friendly terminology. It's like maybe if we had stayed at shell shock, vets would be getting the services they need. George was definitely left leaning, but you can't fault that. Yeah, I mean it's there's a lot that can be said about that. Changing terminology for a lot of stuff to make it more user friendly and easier to kind of wear.
Yeah, I mean, so Sebastian does talk about a little bit of what Buddy is mentioning. He's like, he talks about like the victimhood mentality and how modern society has completely eliminated trauma and violence from everyday life. You know, he's kind of tying this back into like the earlier years of a tribe, and how the constant survival and wars and things like that those tribes would go through and how they would survive and thrive off of that kind of danger is almost non-existent in modern society. So he does kind of like tie that back in, and like to your point, buddy, like kind of leads into that whole victimhood mentality that he talks about, because this gives people access to sympathy and resources, but also creates an identity of victimhood that can delay recovery.
Mhm.
I highlighted that section. But you were gonna say something, Corey?
The like the PTSD, not necessarily combat. I remember it was September 11th, and I probably made this story before. Came walking out of the armory, and it was probably about 10 months later, old sweats in the middle of the night. And I was walking out of the armory through the hangar like that again. And I mean, that wasn't like I wasn't in New York. I wasn't there. We were just prepping to do whatever needed to be done. And thank goodness I haven't seen that in a long time, but I can vividly remember waking up just soaked. Like my ex-wife, yeah, calm down, you're good, you're all right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That, and I did highlight one about the Peace Corps. Where did it go?
It's 100, page 100. I didn't highlight it, but I'm on that page, so I see it. So I will leave it to you.
You must have it. We must have different copies.
So it says in tribal cultures, combat can be part of the maturation process. When youth return from combat, their return is seen as integral to their own society. They don't feel like outsiders. In the United States, we valorize our vets with words and posters and signs, but we don't give them what's really important to Americans. What really sets you apart as someone who is valuable to society, we don't give them jobs. That what you were talking about?
Oh, no, that's not. That's a whole other subject. That's a whole other, yes, highlighted, but different thought process.
Gotcha.
How was it?
I don't know. So Chris says this comes full circle to one of the big things that Roll to Heal does through TTRPGs, storytelling. Although these are characters, when you hear that others have experienced something similar to you, it allows you to relate and remember that it's okay to have those PTSD experiences. Most importantly, it tells you it is okay to share your moments with others that you trust and can turn to in those moments, instead of isolating yourself because you feel like you don't belong in society. 100% correct. And that is one of the big reasons why we started Roll to Heal, is to try and break that isolation. Oh, Crystal's got non-wartime, non-combat PTSD, but I have it just the same. But when I say I have it, they think I'm lying. They don't stop and think it's post-trauma. Yep. And not post-combat.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it can happen anywhere. I mean, I don't remember if we talked about it on here or if it was a conversation like you, me, like Max, Corey, and myself had, like in Discord one day, about how the impact of a drone operator has a higher chance of developing
Oh,
PTSD than a soldier
that
on the
was.
battlefield.
Where
I
did
think
I see that?
I think that was a
Just-
podcast.
Yeah, it was.
It
But I
was.
just saw something on that
Yeah.
about their rates are so much higher because they're completely disassociated through the entire process, but they know they were the cause.
Yeah.
That they're after reading that article, I wish I could remember. I knew I should have wrote it down.
I know
But
it came up in conversation at some point. I just don't remember if it was
no,
actually
it
on the
has. But I
podcast.
just read an article the other day
Oh, another
about
one?
it. Yeah, and it was. I'm like, yeah, I can see how that would. I don't know if I could. After reading that in our conversation, I don't know if I could do that.
Well, and a
Like,
lot of
you're
people will
not
read
looking the
that.
enemy in the eye.
Yeah,
It's almost.
but people out there will read that and they'll be like, that doesn't make any sense. How can that be possible?
I've also seen similar stats for people that work on like the recon teams and run sharpshooter teams for the military. I've also heard similar things for that because you can see them and you know that I pull the trigger and 7 seconds later that person just ceases to exist. It's something, I don't know what it is. It's something about that, like you said, that disconnected. You're not standing within a throwing distance of the enemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's that level of disconnect.
Well,
But still, it's you know what you did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not. Neither side of the opinion of what you did was right or wrong. It was done, and you still know it.
Yep.
I wonder if adrenaline has a part to play in it, right? Because when you're actually on the field in combat, maybe the adrenaline lessens the impact of your actions. Like it doesn't like negate
Kind
them
of
at all, but like
dulls the morality
dulls
of
it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you're in a drone seat or in a sniper position, you're calm, collected. You're
Separated.
you're processing it on a different level, and the
Yeah.
adrenaline, it might still be there, but it might not be as high.
Not
So
there to buffer it.
Yeah. So I wonder if that might play a part. Buddy
Sounds
says
like Mike's inspiring a new paper.
I mean, I could see that.
Buddy says the Journal of Veteran Studies has a peer-reviewed article by Savannah Taylor and Brian Lee Miller talking about research into veterans' transition out of the military and mental disorders such as PTSD, from the drastic change in lifestyle to military go go go, to civilian, laid back and slow in comparison. I was in theater, but not on the front line or in direct combat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still go go go.
Still go go. Yeah. And then Chris says, also, it is easier to justify during combat, stating it was a means of self-preservation. That is hard to justify behind a computer screen, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Buddy says, in the Gulf, when the USS Cole was attacked, it hit us just as hard as those directly affected. Yeah.
So with the self-preservation thing, I thought this was like I had to listen to this a couple of times. I bet you I read it 6 or 7 times just to wrap my head around it. This is a subject we have yet to touch on, and I touch on it with utter respect. But to quote the book, treating combat veterans is different from treating rape victims because rape victims don't have this idea that some aspects of their experience are worth retaining. Like I had to, I bet you I listened the minute before and after that about a half a dozen times. And I know when I got home, I grabbed the book to go read that. And I'm wondering if that isn't like they can let go of it because it wasn't a necessity. Like the book goes on, he goes on to explain in the book that a woman can let go of that quicker because it wasn't an essential part of life.
It's something that they actively want to forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that doesn't correlate with some of that. That one I had to bring up because it was like,
It's
huh,
interesting.
that's
Yeah.
just a weird fact. Wow, didn't mean to bring the mood down that far, guys. Sorry.
No, you're good. Um, yeah, I remember that part. I just what page was that on, Corey?
D1.
81.
Yep, because then it goes on shortly
Versions
after
may
that.
vary.
Yes, versions may vary. But after that, it goes on. For most people in combat, their experiences range from the best of times to the worst of times. So you're actually like the reason why we hold on to it long, not we, but why the combat side or the firefighters running in and dealing with it is because it is associated with good times. How many times were you sitting in the firehouse, Max, smoking and joking, having a grand old time, and
Sharing
tones
war
drop?
stories. Yeah.
Yep, and tones drop, and next thing you know, out the door in the suck.
But I mean,
It's
it's
you know what I mean, Mike? You would giggle and laugh before
Yeah,
you get the call. Hey, we got to go find somebody.
yeah, it's not
And
all bad
those,
times.
but
I
that's
mean,
what I mean. Those tribal moments are immediately before and after the traumatic moments.
and a lot
So
of
that's
times
why
it's
we have such a hard time letting go.
and a lot of times it's tied to self-worth too, right?
Yes.
Yep, your
Like,
purpose.
yeah, it's that the purpose, the mission, like I did something that actually matters and I can go home and sleep and not have to worry and not have to stress, right? I mean, it's the whole meme of like, would you rather be doing what you're doing now in 2026, or would you rather be on mission with the boys in 2000 whatever? And it's just a bunch of dudes out on a foot patrol. And it's like, for a lot of vets, it's just like reminiscing because yeah, there was a lot of funny things that happened. There's a lot of goofy things we did to vent, decompress that were enjoyable. The team environment was enjoyable. Not
But just the
necessarily everything,
shenanigans.
yeah, not necessarily everything we did was great, but there was other parts that we hang on to, which I could see to like what Mike was saying earlier, where that would bring it back to where our communities will reflect on it a lot more than say somebody that's suffered from like sexual assault or rape or anything like
Mhm.
that, right? Like it's something that they are permanently trying to offload, whereas it's something that we try to cling to because it's the good times, right? It's when we had a high self-worth, high value memory
Yeah.
of things we did.
Yep. And I mean, like that kind of goes hand in hand with how society is now. You know, we circle back on it all the time, but it's like how many people do we know that get out and they don't like that they're out because they've lost that purpose and they're no longer part of that mission, and then they struggle to find
Yep.
a new purpose. Like there's a lot of uh, moments in here when he's talking in the book um, about PTSD and how when a veteran um, reintegrates into society, they feel lost, and then like some of them succeed in finding a new purpose, others will isolate. And like there's a couple moments in here he talks about like the individual society and how um it affects veterans um ability to reintegrate into that society. And like I got this section highlighted where it says America's great wealth, although a blessing in many ways, has allowed for the growth of an individualistic society that suffers high rates of depression and anxiety. Both
Yep.
are correlated with chronic PTSD.
Yep.
And then literally on the next page, he talks about perhaps most important, veterans need to feel that they're just as necessary and productive back in society as they were on the battlefield.
That whole feeling needed
Yeah.
and then also accomplishment is so important. And
Mhm.
it's until you don't have it, it's really hard to realize just how much of a essential part of it of you it becomes in the military and even in first responders and healthcare workers too, right?
Oh,
Like
it took me well over a decade to get that feeling back.
the
Well
second,
over a decade.
yeah, the second somebody calls out for a code and you're not, you're like, oh, cool, hey, I can help with this. You run up, and you're like, all right, and about your day you go,
I mean, like even to Buddy's story, 16 years he was out and he's now in a position where he's helping others.
Yeah,
Like that's refinding your purpose, and like
Yes.
some people it took 16
16
years,
years.
10 years for you, Corey.
Yeah.
Some people will turn on the dime and be able to be back at it and not really be affected, and that's great for them, but I think it's safe to say that that's not the majority.
Mm-mm. And kudos for Chris for sharing this and kind of
Yes.
self-recognizing too. He said, I think it is one of my drivers to staying ambitious and always trying to push to the next level in my career or what I have accomplished. It's a coping mechanism. There's a lot of messed up things that our community will take on as a way to just get to the next day.
Mm-hmm. And we're willing to put up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does. I highlighted a couple spots in this section, specifically because I think that this kind of ties into like the reintegration, which I think is important. And I think this is one of the things that makes having Roll to Heal be there to and I speak to I've spoken on my own personal experiences going from active duty to veteran status, and how being part of this organization has kind of kept me from feeling that blow, and I think that that's huge. And if we can get more people like that, maybe that helps break that cycle. He says, unfortunately, for the past decade, American soldiers have returned to a country that displays many indicators of low social resilience. And then a little later, he talks about a society that doesn't distinguish between degrees of trauma can't expect its warriors to either.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to jump around too much. I'm trying to like stay fluid with the book, but it does come up in conversation.
Yeah. We destroyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So Chris is saying, TAPS wasn't the fix for it all. No, it really wasn't. It's like even their newest one, like I will say the great thing when I went through TAPS, like he's like the guy told me, he's like, this is across the board streamlined. Every single individual is gonna get this same TAPS training you're getting, across every branch of the military. I was like, oh cool, some consistency. That's great. But you know, what can I really tell you that I learned from the TAPS training? When you go to do your disability claim, you're gonna have the option to take a left or a right. You want to go right so you can talk to the the VA representative that's not attached to the VA, so they can help you with your claim. That's what I got from it. No, I know you were, Chris, being facetious. And Buddy says it's nuts how much it is needed. I was told I couldn't put together a flat pack table for the office because the facilities person told my manager that I can't in case I might hurt myself. So I have to wait for a paid contractor to come into the office in another week so he can screw in 4 screws. That was all it took to create full disinterest in the position and the organization. But it's a paycheck. It's a rough adjustment.
So it looks like
Buddy, I hit the sorry, Max. I
No,
hit
go
the
for it.
same thing. I was up in Canada. I was servicing one of my systems, and I'm in the display room. There's a very similar arm with the same joints and the same mechanisms. And I turn around and I look at the guy in charge of the building. I was like, "Hey, I know what the problem is with that. Would you like me to fix it while I'm here?" "No, don't touch that. That's another department. I have the tool right here. Do you want me to fix it?" Trust me, buddy, I get it.
So it looks like Panther from Discord's watching today. So welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. His message, I think, got caught accidentally by Crystal and deleted. So I'm just going to read it out real quick. He said he spent 6 years deploying with SOF overseas in the Middle East as a contractor. I switched jobs to be home for my family, and the readjustment was tough. To not have the constant job satisfaction knowing you were doing something that matters. It led to an extended depression until I found new ways to find that purpose. Yeah, I think, I know I went through a phase of it from different causes where, again, kind of extended depression. I think a lot of us here have gone through similar experiences.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I haven't experienced it, but again, my purpose shifted while I was still transitioning. So, like, obviously, mine is different from others. Um, I think I think what's really interesting too is he gives a good example in here on a shifted purpose, and this is like towards the end of the book where he talks about what's his name, Martin H. Bowman. So Martin H. Bowman is a um, he served in the army in the 1950s, and when he got out, he created a job placement firm in New York City.
Okay.
So,
I have the whole thing highlighted too.
oh, do you? You want to
Yes.
share it? I don't want to. I don't want to take it away from
No,
you.
no, you're good. I'm just giggling because we've had a
It's
lot of similarities.
yeah, it is funny to see us like have a lot of like the same stuff highlighted. But he helped people find top executive positions around the country, and he only found out about this after that Sebastian found out about this after he passed away. Um, and this was in 2015. So when he learned about him, he went and talked to the company about him to find out what he was like. And apparently, in a New York Times notice, Mr. Bauman called all of his employees into a meeting one day when his company was going through a money loss year, and he asked all of them if they would accept a 10% reduction in the salary so that he wouldn't have to fire anyone. And every single person agreed. And then he quietly decided to give up his own personal salary until his company was back on safe ground. And the only reason any of the staff found out about it is because the bookkeeper had told them. So he
Right.
took a leadership position and decided to sacrifice everything after asking everyone to sacrifice 10%. So he felt like Bowman felt that true leadership was the kind that lives depend on. They require powerful people to put themselves last, and that he was one of those people. So I thought that was a rather beautiful
Very
example of positive
powerful.
leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read the rest of it because it starts to get political. We don't need to go down that road.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had to fight real hard to put the highlighter down at that point because I really wanted
Yeah.
to.
Is there any section you wanted to cover, Corey? I'm trying not to jump around too much, but
Oh,
we
we're
kind of did on a.
I think we got most of them.
Yeah. I mean, we're really cliffs noting some of this stuff. I highly encourage any of you to read Tribe by Sebastian Junger. This is an amazing book. And Panther, like if you're new here, I highly encourage you to read this book. It's a great book. It's up on the screen. Tribe on Homecoming and Belonging by Sebastian Junger. It opened my eyes, and Corey and Max will say the same thing.
As usual, it causes a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah, it does. But it paints a lot of good perspective. And I think that's something that is overlooked quite frequently in today's society.
Yeah, no, I remember like when it finished the audiobook version finished. Like I remember pausing it and just sitting there and like in my car just thinking how much all of this really does kind of just tie again, like we've said it probably 100 times now, how it ties back to everything that we do here and just how much of an core part of why we're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris has got another book he's reading that he may recommend called The Reintegration and the Ritual of Storytelling. Interesting. Yeah.
That is just off of that title. That's something we so need to get back into. Look at we all have kids, fairly younger kids. I caught myself the other day. I was telling my son a story, and it's like he was there. Like the Nintendo got put down and he was all in. I was like, ooh, that just put now mind you, he's definitely part of this generation where we may or may not have to remove said object from his hands, but he voluntarily put it down to hear the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this needs to come back. Because how many hundreds of generations is that's how information was shared?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
We are.
Thanks, Chris. I'm buying another book.
Oh, yeah. He's full of them.
It'll probably be another audiobook once I'm done studying for work.
If they have it in an audiobook.
If they have it, yep.
You'll have to do like Meg and, get your wife to read it for you.
Might be a little harder of a sell on that one.
Well, then you just play the, well, Meg's got her husband to read it for.
Right.
Oh.
I'd have to fight my wife to not read another romance novel to read it to me.
I mean, I have fun with moments like that.
Oh, I do too.
I
give her hell. I give her hell for it.
my wife is a big fan of live action Korean dramas.
Oh, okay.
And there was one of the characters looked like the guy from the Dr. Pepper cherry commercials.
Oh no.
So I made the comment once and I just ruined the entire thing for her. So she hated me for a month. going down the deep end and reading Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Oh, that is a deep end, buddy.
I don't know if I got that in me, sir. You might have to special guess that one.
Right? Oh. Final thoughts, Max?
If you haven't read it or listened to it, you need to. It's, I mean, even if you haven't, will not experience the things any one of veteran first responder healthcare work, read it, listen to it. It's worth it. It's very quick. It ties a lot of what we talk about together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, does it ever?
Corey, final thoughts?
Absolutely.
It's us in 180 pages or
Yeah.
130 or whatever it is. I don't know how I fell asleep trying to read it. And like I said, I did it in one shot listening to it and then came home and read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with you both. Like this, was eye opening and frustrating at the same time because I feel like I've
Mhm.
said very similar things that are said in this book across at least a decade of patterns that I've seen going on in our society. Like I would talk I mean people would have conversations with me about like political things, and I would say this isn't political. This is a community problem. Like we need to get back to these, like, taking care of these things as community, not expecting the government to step in and fix it. Like
Absolutely.
go back to any like natural disaster. Who gets things done faster, the community or the government? You know,
Well, look at the miners as the book.
yes, they do. They
Yeah.
do talk about the mining town in the book and how they stepped in to take care of one
The
another.
whole damn town. And
Mm-hmm.
like even the guys that okay, they got halfway down the hole and realized that, ooh, I can't do this no more. All right, move, get out of the way. Not in a bad way. Just you can't do this. Go. We got to go forward to go get them.
Yeah.
And no one held anything against them because that guy that felt like trash because he couldn't help is bringing the workers water and food. And he's doing something.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it doesn't say that in the book, but he is.
Yeah.
No.
And without that support, those guys weren't moving forward.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, fantastic book. I when I went to the Taco Food Festival, this was on the table, and I was telling people about it. And like I said, they were opening it and they were flipping it as I was explaining to them, and I just wish there were sections of it that I had highlighted so they would stop and read them. And I'm gonna make a habit of going through this entire book, and finding all those little spots on top of the ones that I highlighted for tonight, so that way
Leave the highlighter on top of the book, man.
I know, right?
Oh,
Just put the book.
There's going to be more green and yellow in there than there is plain paper.
No,
I know.
you know what you should do. Now, I just had a kind of a crazy thought is because this is probably going to be like on a yearly reread list for me.
Oh yeah.
Is every time you read it, use a different highlighter.
That's a good
No,
idea.
but to do like, look at what kind of jumps out at you every time you read it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's just like a movie. It's just like anything else where the more times you watch it, you go back and you realize like, oh, this bit was like foreshadowing stuff that happened. I missed that the first time. I'm
Not even
sure
that.
there's going to be
It's
things that we pick up on the third, fourth, fifth read where you're like, man, that actually, okay, that reads differently now.
Yep.
not just that. Where are you going to be next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your headspace isn't going to be what it is now.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
believe
known
it.
to take
Next
notes in
page.
my book. Yeah.
I believe it. No one correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could.
That's Chris. Oh, all right. Any final thoughts or comments or questions from the chat before we wrap things up? You guys have been awesome tonight, giving me like feeding us your stories and like your thoughts on the
Yeah.
book. It's great to see that other people have read it as well.
Awesome
Panther, new to
seeing.
R2H. Awesome. Welcome, man.
Panther,
I was going to say, awesome
welcome.
seeing new faces in that just joined as well.
Absolutely. Where are you located, Panther, if you are willing to share? Birmingham,
Oh,
hey. We gave a shout out to your chapter, man. It's great. And we gave a shout out at the beginning. So happy for you guys. I'm glad you guys got
yeah.
up and running. Awesome. Yeah, I saw, man. It's
That's
fantastic.
awesome. Ride that post session high as long as you can.
Hell yeah. That's great. Now you can tell everyone your success stories and help champion the next chapters that come in.
Oh, buddy, I'm afraid to see how much is out there.
Yeah. All right. So wrapping up, just to reiterate, Gen Con, we are going. This is our list. 4 of them are already sold out. All the others still have a decent amount of seats. So if you're going to be at Gen Con, feel free to sign up. You can find us on the Gen Con website. Do an event search for Roll to Heal, and you will see our list as it is showcased here. Sign up. One of us is DMing. There's 5 of us who are going to be DMing. Max and myself are 2 of them. Chris is another Crystal, and our 5th is Tommy, who he did our one shot for Delta Green. So they'll give you an idea of what to expect from at least him, and then Chris ran our one shot for Vicen, so you can kind of get a showcase.
I guess. Well, I say I don't know if we're gonna have time. It's like, I guess, does that mean that you and I have to do a one shot soon so that everybody can get a taste?
Well, then we got to bring Crystal on too, so she's gonna do it.
I don't think we're gonna have time for it.
We probably aren't. We're gonna get real busy here, and
Oh yeah.
Our schedule. We're gonna keep pushing to have content on the podcast come out every Saturday. Obviously, as it gets closer to Gen Con, we might have to pause again, so that way we can focus on Gen Con, get everything squared away. I would love to do some sort of live broadcast at Gen Con with the
Would be
entire
cool.
group together, which would be awesome. We're going to do everything we can to make that happen. But we do have a lot of work ahead of us before we get Gen Con up and running. So with that, Gen Con, don't forget. And like I said at the beginning, we have our challenge coin, which is awesome. I'm going to show the video again because I think everyone was amazed at how cool it was. I saw Max and Corey just like eyes glazing it over at it. So there it is.
I was making faces at what Chris was talking about.
Yeah.
The old gods
No,
of
we're not live
Appalachia.
feeding that.
Oh,
We're not live feeding that, Chris.
no, we can't.
You got to keep that one close to the hip. We're not supposed to be talking about that, Chris. Come on now. That's supposed to be like a big surprise drop that happens. But if you want the challenge coin, we do have it on our shop on Zephy. It's $35 a donation, and that does include the shipping cost. And the $35 goes to us. Zephy doesn't take a dime of it. They have their own little system that you would pay a little extra on their end. So just be mindful of that and note it. But the 35 does come to us, and if you're going to be at Gen Con, we will have them there, and it will just be a $30 donation. So if we're ever at an event, this coin will be present for people to donate and receive this as a thank you gift. But with that, any other tidbits I need to cover before we sign off? I don't believe so.
Just want to shout out one more thing real quick. The once a month GM workshop is coming up here in a couple weeks. So it'll be the first Wednesday. I think Crystal posted it in chat as well. So it is hosted by Tommy, myself, and Crystal. I believe this upcoming workshop, we're going to do some discussion on world building.
Fun.
Yep.
Very nice.
So
Right.
good stuff. Mike's getting staticky again. I think that's our cue.
Yep.
Am I?
Yeah.
Yes, you are, sir.
All right, then. Corey, sign us off.
Everybody, have a good evening.